I'll turn it over to you, Pat.
Okay, this is a meeting of the Somis Municipal Advisory Committee, March 9, and it starts at 6 o'clock or thereabout. First item on the agenda is
I'll do a roll call for you.
sure.
Okay. Jack Foss,
Here.
Tyler Cobb,
Here.
Bob Fulkerson,
Here.
Patricia Martinez. Don't think she's on yet, so. And Chair Richards.
Here.
Okay.
All right. Next item on the agenda, Jack, would you like to give us our flag salute for this evening?
Absolutely. I'm no camera, but I pledge
Oh, look at that.
to the flag of the
Yeah.
United
United
States
States of America, to which
To
it
the
stands,
region, which stands one nation,
under
under
God,
God, indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Okay, the next item on the agenda is selection of the 2022 MAC Chair and Vice Chair. And I think, Denise, I think you lead our voting process. We have open nominations for chair.
sure.
Any recommendations from the group?
I nominate Pat Richards as the MAC chair.
Jack, you're low there. It's hard to hear you, buddy.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah,
Yes, a little closer.
there you go.
Okay. Yeah, I nominate Pat Richards as the MAC chair.
Okay,
Do I have a second?
I'll second it. Bob,
okay. I'll do a roll call.
All right, thank
Jack Foss,
I.
Tyler Cobb. I think I need to hear you, sorry.
Yes.
Oh, okay, sorry. Bob Fulkerson
yes.
and Pat Richards.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I'll
And then
open.
the vice chair.
I would like to nominate Bob Fulkerson as the vice chair for the Somis MAC.
Jack nominated Bob.
Wait, do I hear a second somewhere?
I'll second.
Okay, I'll do a quick roll call. Jack Foss,
Aye.
Tyler Cobb,
Aye.
Bob Fulkerson,
Aye.
Pat Richards.
That would be,
Okay, thank you.
okay. Next item on our agenda is the approval of minutes from the meeting of November 10, 2021 and December 21st, 2021. And does anybody have any changes on either one of those minutes? I believe the December 21st meeting was primarily all about the predator that was supposed to be or planned to be placed within the community. Anybody have any changes with regards to those meetings? Hearing none, do I have a recommendation for approval on the minutes of November 10th?
I move we approve both of them.
Okay,
And do I have a second?
I second that.
Jack
Okay,
second. Okay, I'll do a roll call. Jack Foss,
Aye.
Tyler Cobb,
Aye.
Bob Fulkerson,
Aye.
Chair Richards.
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on our agenda is agenda review. Any changes or any need to adjust our agenda?
Oh,
Okay, hearing none, I'll move on to the next item on our agenda, is public safety reports. Denise, do we have any representative from public safety?
yes, we have Representative Sergeant Thomas Miller from the Sheriff's Department. I have CHP Ryan Ayers, and I also have Officer Islas from CHP and Commander Heather Hoagland from CHP.
Any recommendations on who should be going first? Okay. Of those, does anybody have any time considerations?
No.
Okay.
Why don't we let the sheriff go ahead and go first? He can start us off.
All right.
Yeah, start with the new guy, huh?
I can take it if you want. I'll leave it up to you.
No worries.
All right.
I don't
First,
wanna
I'll
step on your
introduce
toes.
myself. I talked to some of you guys over the phone and via email when the sexually violent predator thing kicked off a few months ago, and I know the sheriff joined in the last meeting versus myself. Senior Deputy Mike Baker, who's been our representative at these meetings, has gone back to the jail. Just a change of assignment as he nears retirement. So I'll have 2 new senior deputies working for me, and either myself or one of them will be present. On our end, last week I made it out to Somis School, and my senior made it out to Mesa Union. We read with the kids out there last week for Read Across America Week, and my big thing is trying to include them in the same things we're doing here in the city. One trend that we're seeing that hasn't carried over to Somis that I just wanted to mention, it's heavily affecting the Oxnard Plains area, is agricultural thefts and burglaries, but of chemicals and fertilizers. So we've had a lot of crimes, and that seems to be the new trend. And I don't know if it's going to carry over out there into the agricultural areas, but they're targeting fertilizers and chemicals, and they are breaking in, and it's usually during the evening hours. So something to make you all aware of. And I think Senior Deputy Baker got back to one of you guys last month about the residents with the marijuana issue from one of the prior meetings, I hope.
Yeah, I believe he did that. Yeah, I think I sent that to you, Pat.
Yeah, and that's all I got on my end. I think most of you have my contact info, but if not, I can make sure I can forward it off to you. But I'm always available to assist, whether by email or phone, and we'll be here present for the meeting. But there's not much else
Okay.
regarding the Somis community.
Sergeant Miller, if you could give your contact information to Venice, and Venice, if you could forward it on to all of the members, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. I can put it in the chat if you like. Your email?
Yep.
Sure. Okay. I will do that.
No, I'll email you. I'm at my desk, so I'll email you also my desk line and my cell phone. As my cell phone's not a worry to call me.
Okay.
I will answer it whether I'm working or not working.
Okay. So once I get that email, I'll put it up in the chat so everyone has it.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
All right, Denise, I think that we have 2 CHP representatives. We have with Commander available.
Yes, hello, this is Lieutenant Hoagland. Good evening, everybody. I don't have much of anything to report. I do just want to give you a heads up. I don't know if I was able to talk to you at the last meeting, but this year there is some construction planned on the eastbound 118. So
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
the eastbound where there is no on putting a portable building in on the eastbound side and dropping a scale in. I'm holding my breath as to when the actual start date actually is, because there's a lot of planning, and it is Caltrans and a bunch of vendors that are putting bids in and that type of thing. So until I actually see a shovel in the ground, it's sort of a heads up. They say it could start as early as May, but I think they've already pushed that to July. So again, I will keep you informed as soon as I hear anything more concrete. I don't know how it will affect traffic. The portable that they're going to be dropping in there is going to be off the roadway, obviously. So hopefully it's not going to affect traffic negatively for very long. once they get a drop there, it's just sort of, putting everything together. And then the actual roadway construction, the plan is that it would be completed in approximately May to July of 23. So it will be a significant, basis. And as soon as I know anything more, I will be in communication, and I'll be in communication with the Moore Park office and the Moore Park PD and you guys at the Somis MAC as well.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And Denise, I think we have another representative from CHP.
Yes, Officer Ayers.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. Excuse the informal appearance. I'm in between two softball practices right now. I have my daughter's, my youngest at 4:30 to 6:30. I have my oldest daughter, so it's been a busy night. But anyway, thanks for having me. A couple different things that we've had on kind of a continuance of one of the things that's been happening in the area quite a bit. And I don't have any specific numbers for this quarter, but the catalytic converter that are still happening in the area. Us with through one of our task forces, and also in conjunction with the sheriff's department, we've actually been able to get quite a few of these crews recently. Just recently, you probably saw one of the chases that went down into LA. That was a catalytic converter crew that they caught down there. So just the same type of thing. If you are try to park your vehicles in a well-lit area, watch out for your neighbors. If there's lights on, they're less likely to approach, and especially like motion lights or just always lights that are always on at night. If it's a well-lit area, they're staying away. So something to be aware of. We've only had several crashes within the last 3 months over there in the Somis area, which is really good. And the ones that I'm aware of were all over in the curve near Hay to Lumber. Just people that either one was on his way home from work and tired and just missed the curve. Other people have been distracted. But other than that, nothing major, which is good. We have been doing some proactive things over there as far as in view with the radar trailer. We did have the radar trailer posted up at on Somis Road at Bell Street for I think it was 35 days, and then after that we had it over on 118 near La Cumbra Road, and that is trying to give everyone a visual what's coming on these two. Here's my youngest daughter now.
Sergeant, do you have any information regarding the vehicle railroad track?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Do you have any information regarding the vehicle that ended up on the railroad tracks on Somis Road?
On Somis Road?
Yeah, it happened about 20, 30 minutes ago.
Oh, today?
Today, yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh, no, but I could probably find some information out about that. Where was it, on Somis Road?
Just
It was on Somis Road.
yeah, it's I guess you'd call it east of Upland on Somis Road.
Bell Ranch Road right there.
Pretty close to that.
Yeah, it looks like a vehicle rolled and is now on the tracks. There was a male that was seen running away from the vehicle, so we notified the railroad to stop the train. It's in the area. Let's see here. We notified the sheriff to be on the lookout for that driver. I'm just reading this right as we speak, so this is still happening. Let's see here. So I guess kudos to Ventura County Sheriff. They detained the driver, possibly the driver, and they're trying to escort that person back to the scene right now. So there you go, collaboration as we speak.
Good.
So it sounded like it was a crash. hit and run situation, and they have the driver though. So
Great. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
I
Yeah.
clicked off to say I had units on that when I signed in the meeting, so I was messaging to see what the update was, but we had units over there too.
Yep.
Now, 60 in Santa Barbara. 57.
Yeah. So
Burn pits in
Deputy Miller, if you get some updates on that and you want to share them during me, just go ahead and
Afghanistan, smoking.
Yeah, we'll do.
interrupt. I'll yield to that. So like I said, we have the radar trailer out there and we're just using that as a visual reminder. We've actually seen it work in quite a few areas throughout the county. And it just gives those people that, even the local residents in areas, a reminder of, hey, you know, let's just slow down. You know, we put it in strategic areas that do have high traffic, especially through Somis. You have Bell Road right there. There's also the crosswalk at North Street for the schools. So we're trying to slow down traffic as it comes through Somis proper right there. So I think the only other thing that we have coming up here is St. Patrick's Day, which is obviously traditionally one of the drinking holidays. People going out and having their green beer and whatever else they you know, they are consuming. We don't have any checkpoints scheduled for the Somis area, but we do have an area. We will have patrols out doing you know, enforcement and active patrols in the area. If you guys obviously see something, we'll always welcome a 911 call, because since we can't be there all the time, it'll help if you tell us where to look, right? So if you see someone swerving, see something else that's going on, obviously you can call 911, let us know what's going on, to where to focus our efforts. So do you guys have any questions or concerns for me?
Any comments, Denise?
I don't see any hands raised.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I just also want to take this opportunity to introduce you to a new face that you may see coming up here pretty soon on future MAC meetings. So I was going to introduce CHP Officer Erica Islas. She is also out of the Moore Park CHP office. So I'll let her say a few words and introduce herself.
Good.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm again Erica Islas. I'm here today to introduce myself to everyone. I'm making my rounds visiting the MACs. I'm going to be assisting Officer Ayers in community engagements. I apologize for those who have to hear my little spiel again. My background, I have a 16-year-old daughter. I'm an Army veteran. I've been with the Moore Park CHP office for 5 years. I primarily work patrol, typically at night. And again, I'm just here to meet you all and become familiar with your concerns and kind of how these meetings work so that we can just better serve you guys. So.
Well, thank you very much. All right. Bye-bye. All right. Moving on to our next agenda item, Supervisor Linda Parks. Any comments? Is Linda with us?
Yes.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Couple of things. Our Ventura County Transportation Commission has a new executive director, Martin Erickson. Martin has been working for the Transportation Commission for a while. He worked out in Santa Barbara. He worked in Oxnard, but he's been with our commission. And so when Darren Kettle moved over to Metrolink, we ended up appointing Martin Erickson. And so we'll be working with him on issues like the freight corridor, also on proposals that they have for a transportation tax, or that's actually being floated by residents or businesses to put a transportation tax out there. But VCTC will be overseeing the funding if that does pass. There's also a community beautification event. We have those and glad to have it back again. This one in Somis is on September 17th, and reminders will be mailed by our Public Works Agency. And those community beautification events, CBE, They are a chance for residents to empty out their garages. They can get big bulky items, green waste, and electronic waste. So really nice to have that available. And we'll make sure and let everybody know about it to the best of our ability, because we like to get lots of people participating, and that will be at the school, I believe. Also, COVID updates. We no longer need to wear masks indoors, though it's strongly recommended for individuals who aren't vaccinated particularly. And after March 11th, which is coming up pretty soon here, schools will also not be requiring masks. Our Board of Supervisors will be going back into session in April, at the end of April. So that will be an in-person meeting. So I imagine your next MAC meeting probably will also be in person. I've asked to look at if there's a way we can do hybrid with the MACs. I'm not sure if that will be able to occur, but we may be back in Somis for our in-person meetings at our first MAC meeting, May 11th in Somis. Also, Caltrans has let us know that they are actively working on a traffic handling plan for when they do the 118 slope rehabilitation project, and that they are going to share those plans with us. And their project manager and traffic specialist can attend the next meeting so they can answer some questions too. And it's been really good to see Caltrans stepping up to the plate as much as they have. I mean, they've been very good at public engagement, letting the public know about projects, as we've seen with this one. This will be, I think, about maybe at least the third time they'll be at the MAC. They have been really helpful in trying to get bike lanes and what they call active transportation. And we've also had wonderful experience with them with the wildlife bridge that will be built at Liberty Canyon on the 101 freeway. We'll be breaking ground on that bridge in late April. So very excited to see that come to fruition, but just really appreciate the good partner that Caltrans has been. And with that, I'm open to questions if there are any.
How's our sidewalks to Camarillo coming?
Well, I know that they are looking at some sidewalks as specifically to the school. Isn't that right, Denise? We did get approval of state routes to school money, and I believe there will be sidewalks being put in there. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you've had a presentation on that yet, and maybe we could do that at the next meeting. But we
Sure, I can ask about that. Because I know the board just you approve that they don't have to go through the CEQA process. That was the most recent thing that I saw at the board.
Yeah, my understanding is we actually got the grant, and then I know you said it with a smile, Mr. Fulkerson, but there will be some sidewalks, I believe, on Somis Road, particularly over near the farm worker housing project as that's moving forward, but we can save that to I think we have that on our agenda.
There was one question in the chat. However, I think it was more geared towards law enforcement. I don't know if we still have law enforcement on. Oh, hi, Sergeant Miller. There was a question about a neighbor was told it was someone was killed in an accident on the 118 in early February.
Yeah, I see that comment. I'm trying to go through my memory off the top of my head. It would have been a CHP incident, but usually we would hear something like that. I'm trying to go memory of my fails, but if I find something, I'll click back in. But we have had a couple fatals in the county, unfortunately, in the last month. So.
And I can also follow up with the CHP at a later date. So.
I have a recollection of that Balcom, that's where it occurred, but we'll look it up.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was right before Miranaka on 118 into a tree. It was a Somis gal that died.
Okay.
Western
All right.
Rose.
Pat.
Okay, Supervisor Parks, any other comments?
No, that completes it. Just comments on farm worker housing, and that will be coming shortly.
Very good. So the next item on our agenda is comments from our school superintendent, Mr. Baca. Is he available?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much, Pat, for having me on once again. I do want to provide everybody will be, again, focusing not just on construction, but also modernization of our existing buildings. This is after a long and lengthy process where we made sure that all safety concerns were addressed. And I can share with all of you that we did get a legal opinion in regards to the concerns about the pipeline. As you all know, or may not, we're not going anywhere anytime soon. We're certainly short in terms of building a new school. So the next best plan is to definitely focus in on our existing school. It's a beautiful campus. And so within the next coming months, we'll engage in the planning process, which will involve bringing in an architect and doing a walkthrough, and obviously keeping the community as well as our families there informed as we go. So I'm open to any questions from the community.
Mr. Baca, where's the funding coming from?
This is from the bond that has been carried over for some time now. So that's it's a really good question. The one thing we did do is we made sure that we had sufficient funding to start and finish the projects.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions?
I don't see any hands raised.
Okay, just a quick invite to everybody here and the community in general. We do have our board meeting tomorrow, 6:50, and we'll be sharing more information regarding construction and modernization.
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Denise, we're going to move on to our next item on the agenda, number 9, which is regarding the broadband that the Ventura County is on. So do we have Mr. Theobald available?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Chair Richards, members of the council, Supervisor Parks. I'm Terry Theobald, Chief Information Officer for the county. I've presented to the Advisory Council twice before on broadband, and I was asked to come back today and give you a brief update on where we are. I don't have a lot, so I don't have a slide presentation, but hopefully if you have any questions on any of my points, you'll just ask. First of all, when I last reported in front of your organization, I was talking about a federal infrastructure bill. This would be the President Biden's Build Back America bill, several $1 trillion. I think we heard at the State of the Union address that bill really hadn't gone anywhere. It was kind of stalled in the politics of the federal government. My organization, working closely with the Southern California Association of Governments and several other Southern California organizations, including the CETF, were hoping that we'd be able to tap into some of that federal funding. But that hasn't arrived yet, and it's looking like it'll be a while before the bill gets reconstituted and restarted again. The other thing I reported on last time was Newsom's $6 billion broadband plan, which is pretty exciting because it's a state program, and that includes $3.5 billion for what they called an open access middle mile, $1 billion for final mile, which is the part where you go from the main highway fiber into the actual neighborhoods. So once that has started to take off, and it has started to take off, we now have, including, in addition to the California Public Utilities Commission, who was assigned essentially the initial role, We now have the California Department of Technology who's overseeing the technical portion. Caltrans will be responsible for the actual implementation rollout. And now Scenic, the educational network, because they have expertise in middle mile fiber, is now involved in a oversight role. And they've established the Golden State Network, which is another component of Scenic that's now going to be assisting Caltrans with the rollout. They have recently announced 18 projects throughout the state as their initial set of projects to start building the middle mile. Unfortunately, none of those projects are in the county of Ventura. There are some in LA County, there are some in San Diego County, and they're kind of scattered throughout the state. There's another set of projects that are coming out here shortly that will be announced. We're not expecting that any of those additional projects will include our county. One of the biggest differences between what I presented to you last time with regard to our plan, and just as a reminder, our plan was to build a middle mile from Santa Clarita and come down the 126 through Fillmore, Santa Paula, tie into Ventura. One route would come down the 118 through Somis from Simi into Ventura, and one would come up the 33 from Ventura around Ojai and down into Santa Paula. The 101, I'm sorry, the state plan, instead of using the 118, will use the 101 as its primary third leg, and they'll be coming down the 23 to connect the 126 and the 101. And it's still not difficult to reach Somis from where that middle mile will be in your vicinity. The other thing that's important, the difference between our plan and the state plan, is that ours is redundant. That means that if any part of the fiber breaks, everybody along the fiber stretch will still be able to get internet service. With the state plan, because the fiber ends at the end of Santa Paula and the branch point is at the 23, if any of the fiber breaks between the 23 and Santa Paula on the 126, Santa Paula goes dark. And we have the same issue with the 33. It only goes up to Ojai, but it doesn't come back down through the 150, and therefore anything north of the 101 would cause a break, and I'd say a break would then cause all of Ojai to go down. So those are the two major differences now that we've seen the state plan in some detail. What's Ventura County doing at this point in time? We're pursuing two EDA grants, and the plan for those EDA grants is to support the first 2 middle miles that we're hoping to get started. That would be the 126 and the 118. We also have been talking to the state about the possibility of working with them to expedite our Ventura County projects sooner in their process than later. And that's all I have for my report this evening. I'm available for any questions.
I have a question.
Sure.
I had to plug my machine in before it died. Of the billions of the dollars that are part of the state fund, do you have any idea what, like, are they going to divide it by population or geographic, or how is the money going to be divided?
So they actually have a map of all of the segments they plan to build. So one of the things I can do is I can share the entire map, and I can also share the Ventura County piece of it as well. And I can send that over to Venice, and she could distribute it to the council. The one thing that it's definitive, I would say, in terms of timing, is that based upon just a recent release of the final regulation on the final mile, it appears that Ventura County will have access to approximately $20 million to be used for building final mile, basically to provide fiber connections for neighborhoods, communities, particularly those that are disadvantaged. That's where they're really looking to funnel this money, because 20 million is not significant relative to all of the necessary final mile work we'd have to do in our county.
All right, thank you very much.
Sure.
Any questions, Venice, that we have?
I do not see any hands raised.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Thurwald. I appreciate the comments and looking forward to that information regarding that mapping and distribution. So appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Next
And
item.
before we move on too far,
Oh, Officer
did
Ayers,
someone,
yes.
did someone have, I heard someone had a question or two about the accident, the fatal accident on the 118. Is there anything I can answer on that?
Oh, yeah, someone did have a question on that, just information.
So just kind of a general overview of that crash. I believe it was on February 11th, around between 8 and 9, and it was a solo vehicle crash. It seems that the solo vehicle involved veered off the roadway and struck a tree. And once paramedics and emergency personnel arrived on scene, there was no life-saving measures that could be taken. And unfortunately, the driver passed away at the scene. So it's one of those tragedies that we have out on the 118. That's a reality of driving on a 2-lane roadway at night. Also, it's very dark. It's kind of one of those dangerous roadways that you have to be watching for people coming in both directions. But we want to be, send our condolences to the family and friends of that driver. Any other questions on that specifically?
No, unfortunately, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for popping back on.
All right.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Let me know if you need anything.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay. I know on our agenda is some follow-up to our broadband discussion, and it's a letter that was created on behalf of the Somis Municipal Advisory Council. And have other members had a chance to review that letter?
Can you see it on the screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Any comments regarding the letter or any particular changes to the letter? It was basically just indicating that we're still here, we're still interested, and we're hoping that they will go as expeditiously as possible. Okay, hearing that, and then Denise, would you finalize the letter for my signature?
Do you want to do an approval or a motion and a second to approve the letter?
Certainly, we can go through
Sure.
that. Yeah.
I'll make the motion to approve the letter.
Bob, okay.
I'll second.
Tyler, was that you, Tyler?
Yes.
Sorry, had my head down. Okay, I'll do a roll call. Jack Foss,
Aye.
Tyler Cobb,
Aye.
Bob Fulkerson,
Aye.
and Chair Richards.
Yes.
Okay, I will prepare that for your signature, Pat.
Right. And the next item on the agenda is review of the Somis MAC meeting schedule.
Yes.
Yep,
Do I
is that-
have that? Yes, 1 second.
Oh.
I will share that as well.
Okay.
Getting good at this sharing.
Now the Somis MAC meetings are those shown in green.
Green, yes, the light green.
Okay. And any comments or any changes?
And these are just your usual second Wednesday of every other month, but should you need if something comes up, we can always schedule a special meeting as we did in December.
Okay. How many days in advance do we have to post for a special meeting?
For a special meeting, I believe it's 24 hours,
4 hours. Okay.
but it's 72 for regular.
Very good. I would just comment that if any member cannot make the meeting, let Denise know as soon as possible.
I don't know what happened.
Okay.
All right. Do we have we're gonna have to go.
A motion to approve.
Bob motions.
Bob motions.
Second.
Tyler will second. Okay, and I'll do a quick roll call. Jack Foss,
Yes.
Tyler Cobb,
Yes.
Bob Fulkerson,
Yes.
and Chair Richards.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on our agenda is status of the Somis Farm Worker Housing Project. And I'm hoping that Supervisor Parks is still with us.
Yes. So I did want to let you know the status. As you know, it was approved at the Board of Supervisors, and I brought up issues. See the plant. They no longer are going to be doing that, and there was concern that they were actually going to dissolve because their finances are so poor. So that was a concern, and the staff changed the permit to allow for any certified sewer treatment plant specialist to be able to oversee the packed sewer treatment plant. I reached out to the city of Camarillo because it was stated that the city of Camarillo objected to hooking to their sewer system, which would be preferable both in terms of costs and odors. And for me, the odors and the costs were of such proportions that it definitely needed to be changed. And I was pleasantly surprised to hear that they are supportive, the city of Camarillo. I had also been told during the hearing that it would require a SOAR vote, but have since found out from our county's attorneys it would not require a SOAR vote because farm worker housing is exempt from SOAR. Talking with our public works director, hooking to the sewer would save the low-income farm workers who live there $25 to $50 a month on their sewer bills. That's how much more expensive a packaged sewer treatment plant is. $25 to $50 a month more expensive to the farm workers. But he also said that the sewer line, which would have to go to Upland to connect, would save the developer at least $2 million, potentially $3 million over building a packaged sewer treatment plant. So it would additionally have significant annual cost savings because you won't have to pay for operating. So knowing that the city was on board, we worked to see if the developer would reconsider, and the threshold that they were looking at was the developer has some funding that they are anticipating getting from the government. And they want to show that they are moving forward and have put, I guess, since then decided to go ahead and put a payment down to start building their packaged sewer treatment plant. My thought is in the future, this will be a problem. I don't want the county to be holding the ball and having to come in and save this project, and then hook it up to the sewer plant. So anyway, it has a lot too much bureaucracy, quite frankly, for it to be done the right way. And what would it require would be amending the environmental document, and then having the city of Camarillo go through their voting process and revising the project at the board level. Because of those steps, the developer's more willing to take the public funds and do it the way they're planning on doing it. So I'm concerned that what will end up happening is you'll have a lot of odors to the high school students. The high school is right there, area right near it. Will likely have odors. I think we actually heard that from our water, or Joe Pope is our waterworks district general manager too, would say that there would be odors. So that's what I've been trying to work on. I know there will be a meeting, even though the developer has already gone forward and said he's started putting funds towards ordering the packaged sewer treatment plant. But there'll be a meeting tomorrow with the developer the city has, come, I think, as far as they're going, which is, sure, you want to go through the process, and they've given their support that this would be something the developer would have to look and see that there is sufficient capacity, and that the lines are of sufficient capacity. So anyway, that's what I've been looking at, and it's just specific to this packaged sewer treatment plant. And knowing that the permit's been changed, so VRSD won't be operating it. And if there's other changes from what we've heard, I'll be glad to, keep you apprised. But I'm not very hopeful. I'm not going to hold my breath. Though I was saying the high school students maybe.
A couple of days ago, I had information from the case planner at the county, Mr. Berteline, that the applicant has been issued a zoning clearance for use inauguration, which indicates that they are proceeding, and they've completed all of the prior to issuance of zone clearance conditions. So they're on their way.
Mm-hmm.
Linda, question, when they made a change, that wouldn't have triggered the Board of Supervisors to be able to look at it again?
Apparently not.
Okay, well, yeah, obviously.
I mean, I know, it's a good question, and, they did it that way because they were under the understanding that they were allowed to do that. It's ministerially.
Okay, it's one of those little, yeah, got it. No, you bring up the odor like you did before, and Joe Pope said the same thing, and you bring up the high school, but with the prevailing west wind, it's really coming to Somis a lot more than it's going to Camarillo, that odor. So
Yeah, and I was just saying the high school because it's closer, isn't it?
oh no, I agree. I mean, it's going to be for everybody, but with that nice prevailing west wind after 3 o'clock, it's just coming to Somis. So
Yeah, and to me, this, even though it's not a government project, the idea that no government may have to step in, and then it's probably public funds that are helping pay for that packaged sewer treatment plant, and then that gets shuttered, and then public funds hook it up, to the sewer system, and the years after it doesn't work anymore. So at any rate, it's a frustration to me.
yeah, and that's what a while back when we were talking about it, that's where my frustration is, because the state wants to push it through for housing number or quota, but it ends up falling onto the taxpayers that's don't agree with. I mean, like, we need to have all this different types of housing, but where and when, it's often
It's extravagant to go through that whole thing the way they're doing it. However, in the long run, it's probably is the best farm worker housing project ever, in our county, if not in the state. It's just, what they have planned there is just a beautiful project.
It's the irony in it for me is that most of our labor in Ventura County is shifting dramatically to H2A, which is brought from Mexico for 3 to 6 month windows, and then they go back, which isn't even going to qualify there. So it's, as our labor pool is changing so dramatically in the county over the last few years, do we even have a need for that much housing?
And there is also
going forward.
There was also a item that came to our board from the planning department that added group quarters to the type of farm worker housing. You're aware of that one, and specifically to accommodate the H2A workers. It was a 3-2 vote.
It's a bummer, because that's a whole different thing. So.
But compared to what you have, with this farm worker housing project, it's just a better circumstance for farm workers.
Yeah. Because the H2A, about 80% of the H2A that's in the county now, and it's a lot of it, is they're buying hotels and turning them in, as you well are aware. I hope that doesn't turn into a hotel.
Oh, no, this is an apartment, that's a.
Well, I hope they don't end up using it like that
Right.
when something changes again or something like that. It'd be unfortunate, but
Well, thanks for bringing that to attention. I'll make sure that there are requirements in place, or I will, check that there are requirements in place that would prevent, the flow through of every 3 months instead of what it was intended for, which is to live there. Thank you.
I have a question. At one point in time, there was a discussion about a traffic signal on Somis Road. Has there been any additional discussion regarding?
Developer threw it in the middle of the hearing saying, okay, I'll give you a traffic signal. And it's like, okay, there's another. What is this?
I didn't see it as a condition.
No, it was added.
Was added?
It was added. That was my recollection. And again, probably with public funding eventually too.
Thank you.
yeah, it's amazing how we ask for a traffic signal after they do the study for years at a place that has a problem, and then they just throw one in there as if they're just cheap. So to your point, Linda, it's frustrating, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I believe we have another subject for you. That's the VCTC's advisory committee meeting. It was held a few weeks ago.
That was yours, Pat.
Fine. Oh,
Yeah.
I attended via Zoom a meeting of the Ventura County Transportation Commission committee having to do with basically an interest to try to find out from the community where bicycle lanes should be located, where you got traffic conflict points. So it was an involved meeting. Most of the participants, I think, were bicyclists. So beyond that, they are still just collecting information. There's quite a bit on their website, which unfortunately I did not copy down. But if you go to VCTC, you should be able to find their website dealing with the traffic pinch points and bicycle lanes that they're trying to have throughout the county. So beyond that, that's all I've got. So everybody with me? Hello?
We're here. Just as a comment, they have grading equipment on the Somis farm worker housing area right now, and tanks, big water tanks and stuff. So they've started.
Yeah, well, they have their use inauguration zone clearance, so they should have met all the requirements. So, okay, next item on our agenda is council comments on items not on the agenda. Anybody have anything to comment that's not on the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move forward to item 13 on our agenda. Public comment. Denise, do we have any public comments?
Nothing was written in. I'm looking to see if there's any raised hands. I'm not seeing any raised hands. And check the chat. Nothing in the chat.
Okay. Then we'll move on to one of our final items. That's future agenda items. I have on the agenda an update on broadband. May or may not need that depending upon what Mr. Thurmel is able to provide to us. 118 Way Station, I guess we'll just continue to hear.
Yeah, so Caltrans said that as Supervisor Parks reported, they did not have the information just yet for this meeting, but the next meeting is when they were looking at providing with the traffic mitigation information.
Okay. And then if we could add the safe route to school, the sidewalks.
Sure.
Anything else the committee would like to add to a future agenda? Any subjects?
Denise is going to be, I believe, arranging a fish and wildlife presentation for other MACs, and we were thinking of inviting all the MACs. So look in your email box for that invitation if that comes to be.
let you know.
Hey,
That was my dog.
all right, last item on the agenda is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I motion we adjourn.
Okay.
And a second from somebody.
Yeah.
Second.
All right.
Nice to see you, Bob.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Very much. Take care,
All right.
guys.
Thank you. Have a
Good night,
very good
everybody.
evening. Thank you so much. Good night.
Thank you.